What we'll be demonstrating today is how you can pledge and give to UTUUC. The information we provide is focused on the annual fund and on UUA dues, but is applicable to any pledging and giving that you do to the congregation. Making a pledge to the annual fund and to our UUA dues commitment is an invaluable tool for us in planning. Making payments towards those pledges is of course critical to our congregational life. You can make a pledge by filling out a paper form that will be available at Sunday service or by pledging online through Realm. If you would like to pledge online but do not have a Realm login or have trouble logging in, contact us at 708-848-6225 extension 106 or by email to office@unitytemple.org, OFFICE@unitytemple.org. There are several ways to pay toward your pledge: by check, by automatic bank withdrawal, or by automatic credit card charge. If possible, we prefer that you pay by check or pay with an automatic withdrawal from a bank account. The reason for this is if you use a credit card, we are charged a percentage fee and so do not get the full value of your contribution. If you do choose to pay by check, please use the memo field to write in pledge so that we know how to deposit the money. Setting up automatic payments has two advantages for you. One, once you set it up, you can set it and forget it. And two, the payment method you set will be available for future payments too, for instance, retreats, auction, religious education, and other events. If you're choosing to fill out your pledge on paper or to pay by check, you can end this video now because we'll be proceeding to instructions for using Realm. Thank you. If you've reached this point in the video, you're at least curious about how to use Realm for pledging and for giving to UTUUC. In order to do that, of course, you need to log into Realm. If you have difficulty logging in or don't even have a login, please contact us at 708-848-6225 extension 106 or by email at office@unitytemple.org, OFFICE@unitytemple.org. This is your landing page in Realm. And over here in the left sidebar you see the tab for giving. Click that tab and now you'll be brought to the main giving page. Up here at the top there are several tabs, and the one we're interested in first is the Plus Pledge. That's the way to create a pledge for any of the campaigns. So click Plus Pledge and you'll be brought to the Pledge Now page. As you can see, the Pledge Now page is relatively simple, but each of the fields on this page is very important for you to check and correct if necessary. The very first field to check is the campaign to which you will be contributing. Click open this box and you'll see a list of currently available campaigns. We don't have a way to control how these appear, so please check carefully through the whole list and select the one that makes the sense for the current year. In this case, I'll be picking 2020 Annual Fund but in future years it'll say something different. The next field to check is the frequency with which you will give your gift. Click this open, and as you can see, you have quite a few choices. Most people check the once a month, but you're welcome to check any other combination. I will pick once a month, and the beauty of that is that it's easy enough to divide my total pledge into monthly payments. So I'd like to pledge $1,200 a year, which means I need to give $100 per month. And if you enter that here to the left and then click somewhere else in the page, you can see that the total changes to $1,200. If you picked a different frequency, for instance, every 3 months, you can see that the total changes because now I'm only giving $100 4 times a year. So in that case, I'd need to change this to $300, and now the total would be correct again. Whatever fits your particular budget is fine by us. Just be sure that your calculation works out correctly. And then do check the dates here. They should default to the correct dates for the campaign that you're contributing to, but that's a critical setting that you'd like to check. Now that you've checked all your settings here to be sure the money that you're pledging is going to the right campaign, with the right frequency for the right total, you have 2 choices down here below to save your pledge. One is to simply save the pledge, and that's what you'd use if you're intending to pay by check throughout the year. The other, this one in the middle, is the way you set up an automatic payment through your checking account, savings account, or credit card. Your choice. There are advantages to setting up automatic payments that I'll talk about next. So we'll go ahead and do save and set up online gift. Because you click Pledge and Give Now, you've arrived at the Give Now page, and the settings you put in for pledging have been carried forward. In my case, I'm pledging and giving $100 per month to the 2020 annual fund, and I've chosen to contribute once a month. The next setting to check is what day you would like to make that contribution. Perhaps you receive an income payment on the 3rd of the month, so making a payment later than that is important. If you have the choice, we'd prefer that you select the 5th of each month, and the reason for that is that many of our gifts are processed on the 5th, and it's easiest to do as many as we can all at once. Whatever day you pick, however, is your choice and okay with us. Check the starting date to make sure that it matches the fund to which you're contributing. January 1st, 2020 is of course correct for the 2020 annual fund. In future years, for 2021, for instance, this should say January 1, 2021. There's one more very important setting to change on this Give Now page. Unfortunately, the default period for contributions is until I cancel, and that has some disastrous consequences. I definitely recommend changing this to a specific end date. So an easy one, of course, would be December 31st of the year in question. So December 31st, 2020 would be correct for the 2020 annual fund. Changing the default end date from until I cancel is critical. If you don't change that, your funds will continue to be withdrawn, but they will be going into the wrong account. The easiest is again to just put an end date and select December 31st of the current year, whatever year that is. The rest of this form should be very familiar to you if you do any kind of online shopping. As noted in the introduction to this video, we prefer that you pay by check or by withdrawal from a bank account. If you use a credit card, which is perfectly fine, we're charged a percentage fee and thus don't get the full value of your contribution. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up a bank account withdrawal, but again, having done online shopping, you probably know how to do the credit card. I'm going to give this an account nickname, and the only reason to do that is so that you can differentiate between different methods of paying, perhaps for different items like religious education, the auction, retreats, and so forth. So I'm just going to name this Annual Fund Payment Method. I'm going to switch this down here to a checking account. I'm going to enter the account number, which is usually the set of numbers to the right on your checks. And then you need to put in the routing number, which is usually right in the middle of your check. Please be sure that your billing name and address are correct. And having done all that, you just need to click here at the bottom. In my case, it says give 100 because up here I've set to give $100 to the annual fund once a month on the 5th. Your tab down here at the bottom may say something completely different. Have a captcha challenge, so a fire hydrant in my case. Having done that, you're now sent back to the main giving screen. As you can see, in my case, I'm on the scheduled tab and I have a 100 gift scheduled for January 5th, 2020. It's going to the annual fund monthly on the 5th, and it ends in December 2020. Over here on the right, you can see that it's just a record of that pledge. If you choose, you can go back and edit your giving method. This is not the place to edit the pledge, but you can edit the giving method here if you'd like. And in my case, it's all correct, so I'm going to cancel back out and go to the giving screen. Now that I've set up my annual fund pledge, which you can see here on the right, as well as my annual fund payment, which I can see here, I want to go on and make a pledge and contribution for the UUA dues commitment that we have each year. To do that, again, we hit the plus pledge tab and change this middle campaign fund to UUA dues for the current year, whatever year that is. And in this case, we're picking 2020. Over here is the frequency, just as you had it with the annual fund campaign. And there's a little consideration to make here. You may have been giving once a month or every 3 months to the annual fund, but it's easiest to give just once for the UUA dues, in part because it's a relatively small number, and also if you spread it out across the year, you need to do some calculations. If, for instance, you wanted to give your dues monthly, you'd need to divide the total by 12. If you were giving it every 3 months, you'd need to divide by 4. So I'm going to be a little lazy about this and say, okay, I'm just going to make one payment for my UUA pledge. So that's going to be 187, and that's the amount for 2019. The amount may be different in the current year. Here I'm going to check that it begins in January, and as you can see, the total is correct here. Some people make a pledge for UUA dues but then pay that by check, even if they're paying their annual fund by an automatic payment. So if you want to do your UUA dues by check, all you need to do is say Save Pledge. But I'd like to show you how to go on and set up the automatic giving for the pledge, the UUA dues pledge, and then you'll see the beauty of having set up an automatic payment for the annual fund. So to do that, I'm going to do Save and Set Up Online Gift. As you see, it just carried forward the amount I already entered. It also put in the fund to which I had pledged. It captured the one-time frequency, and then it gives me the choice of when to do that. Again, you can pick any time during the year. If you can, we'd prefer that you do it on the 5th of some month. It doesn't need to be January, but the 5th is a very helpful number for us here in the office. As you can see down here at the bottom, you've already got your payment method set up, so you don't need to enter that information anymore. To get this going, all I need to do is to click Give 187. This number will be different if you decided to spread your payments over the year, but in either case, just click this blue box and you will be finished. That concludes our video tutorial on how to set up your annual fund pledge, UUA dues pledge, and then set up an automatic payment using either a checking, savings account, or a credit card. Again, we prefer that you use a bank account or a check, because the credit card charges us a fee, so we don't get the full value of your contribution. But I wanted to show you again the value of setting up that automatic payment method. You can go in here to Giving, and let's say that you wanted to pay for RE tuition, religious education tuition. So instead of clicking the Plus Pledge tab, you click the Plus Give tab, and over here again is the box that lists the campaigns that you can contribute towards. We don't have a way to control how these appear in this list, so please be sure to look through the entire list to find the one that makes the most sense. Here's RE tuition. You can see that there's the annual fund, auction payments. So I'm going to pick RE tuition. The charge is $50. It's a one-time payment. and I'll pay now because it's early in the year. And as you can see, the payment method that I set up earlier for the annual fund is already listed, so I don't need to enter that information again. If you choose, you could add a new payment method. Let's say you wanted to also have a credit card on file, but that's up to you. And then I just click the Give 50 tab, and I'm done with RE registration. This particular number will change depending on what you're paying up here and for what purpose. But if I click Give $50, I'm all done. So hopefully you've learned about pledging and giving and the value of setting up an automatic payment method. Thank you.